Today I'm going through some carburetors to try to figure out what I want to use on the Plymouth. Over here on the far left, I have the original carburetor that came off of it. These are all BBS style carburetors. This one here in the middle is the one I'm kind of leaning towards going with. And then this one here, I have not taken apart or looked at all. So really the main difference between these is the two on the right are from a 230 cubic inch flathead, and the one on the left that came off of my car is made for a 218. And the only difference that I can find so far is from the main body and the throttle body down there on the 218 are a good bit smaller than these two over here from the 230. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to go with these. This one right here, just for the increased airflow. But I'm going to have to do a few things to get to that point. So the throttle body on the 218 carburetor that I took off has a good bit of play on the shaft right here. Enough where I can like not quite see daylight, but it leaks a good bit here. So the tightest one is the one on this carburetor right here, but the only issue is there isn't any linkage on it. So as you can see, the linkage is missing. So what I'm going to have to do is drill and tap the shaft right here. That way I can take off the linkage from this throttle body. And as you can see, this one isn't in that good a shape. Looks like that may break sometime in the future. So that is the plan. At this point, it looks like the jetting is the same in the carburetors, which is interesting to me. I did pull the jet that's over here behind this plug, and it's the exact same number, but I don't remember comparing the main jet size. Where is that? What is this one right here? Well, there's a part number, 120 1999S. So I guess I can pull the one out of here, which is in a bag. Let's see what that jet is. Yeah, let's do that while I have it on camera. Okay, so the one from the original carb is right here. It is a 120-198S. And then, yeah, the one from this other carb is a 199. So I don't know exactly what that part number is referring to, I'll be honest. But that is the bag of all the parts from this carb, which is a 994S. This one is a 2249S. So some of the part numbers for these things are a little bit difficult to decipher, and if you don't have that tag over there, it's kind of hard to tell what the carburetor came from. I will say that the main bodies on the two carburetors, this one and this one, are very heavy, and this one is substantially lighter. So I don't know what the difference is. I don't know what this is made of. If it's like some kind of pewter or something, and then that's aluminum, I'm not exactly sure. Maybe I'll do a teardown video of that carburetor or something like that. But anyway, so what I'm doing here is just going through this thing, cleaning it out, seeing if anything is missing or not. And then I'm going to drill and tap the shaft, like I said, move the linkage over, and then we'll use a rebuild kit that I got from Mike's carburetor parts. So there's all that inside there. They don't give you a main jet. They don't make those anymore, as far as I know. And I usually don't replace the check ball and retainer. As long as it moves around and they're clean, then I'll leave them alone. It's that one down inside there. So you can hear it moving, so it's fine. And I've cleaned this carburetor in a sonic cleaner as well. Alright, I've got the throttle body portion of the carburetor over here and the drill press, and I'm about to drill this guy out here, and we're going to bring it down to a certain depth that I want to stick a screw in there, and we're using a 7/32 drill bit. So here we go. Alright, there's that. It's kind of hard to video this. The tripod doesn't fit over here, but anyway, I just used a little divot that there was. Maybe somebody was going to drill this at some point, but they didn't do it. But there was just a little tiny divot there in the top of this shaft. So I just used that as a guide. And we got our hole drilled. Now we can tap it. Okay, I've got the new throttle body section on the right. As you can see, it is drilled and tapped. That hole was sort of off-center. That was, like I said, I used a divot that was there before. I don't know why it was there, but it would have been too difficult to try to drill a new spot. But that one's just fine. So that is 632 threads, and I drilled it with 7/32 drill bit, and used 2 different taps. I did a starting tap with a taper and then finished it with a bottoming tap. So now I've just got to grind this section off of this one here, and then I can move our linkage over to the new throttle body, and this is the screw that I'll be using right here. Just a little 632 Phillips head screw with a washer. Okay, so I've got the linkage moved over to the new throttle plate here. It's a very nice and tight fit. Now all I have to do is stick my hardware in there with a washer and some thread locker. So this piece right here is a press fit onto that rectangular piece shape. So shouldn't be going anywhere, and then especially with some hardware over the end, should be just fine. So after this, we can move on to the actual rebuild of the carburetor, and then I'll keep this stuff laying around for some parts. So this is the 218 one that is really worn out on this side in particular. If you put your mouth on here, you can blow through that section. And this is the one that was smaller. You probably can't tell in the video here, but this one's a good bit smaller. Maybe 2/10. So I'll keep it around for parts because these can actually be salvaged. How you would repair one of these is you would use a drill bit or an end mill to cut out these holes to the next size up, and then ream them out, and then you would install bronze bushings. So these are savable, but since I had a good base that was larger laying around, that's what we're going to go with. While I ended up finally getting a carburetor together, it took most of the day because I found out that the pieces that I wanted to use were no good, unfortunately. So the main body of the carburetor with the larger venturi was actually bent, which was this one right here. And this is like the really heavy one. I'm not sure what it's made of, but I had another carburetor with the exact same larger venturi that was pretty filthy, so I had to spend the time to clean that up. And then I just ended up using the choke piece for it also, because the choke piece for the carburetor that I was going to use, this really heavy one, was also bent. So I really don't know how that happens, but I'm glad I noticed it before I put everything all back together. I'm really curious to know what these different carburetor pieces are made of. So this is the set right here that originally came off the car. Where's the throttle plate for it? I don't know. It's somewhere over here. These are really heavy. Well, this body is heavy. The top hat is light. And then both of these pieces are very heavy. This one over here, both of these pieces are very lightweight. So I don't know exactly what's up with that, but I was able to use the throttle base and the main body with the larger venturi size, which is what I wanted. So I think this is a 2249S, and I've got it all back together. As you can see, it took a little bit of an etching in the bath that I put it in, unfortunately, but it's just the color of it. I think I have all the linkage set up properly. There you can see where I drilled and tapped and installed that new hardware. And I've got the choke set pretty much perfect. So all we should have to do is just toss this sucker on there and we should be good to go. Alright, well, I'm going to be putting a carb spacer on my Flathead Plymouth. And this is a topic that I wasn't able to find any information about, which is a little surprising. I searched around the forums and all that kind of stuff, and I couldn't find anyone talking about putting a spacer on one of these things. There's only one place that sells them easily findable, which is Mopar Pro, and they make a spacer made of steel, which is a pretty stupid idea. It even says in the description that it helps with heat soak, which is not true at all. You're literally using a piece of steel, which this is already steel. So anyway, I finally found a phenolic spacer with the correct spacing for this carburetor here, which is, oh geez, what is it? 2 15/16, 2.9 inches. So they had 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch, all linked to where I finally found those. There was an eBay store that sold them. I can't remember the name of the actual website. But anyway, so I had to get longer studs, obviously. They're 3/8 16 on the intake side and 3/8 24 on the carb side if you want to use the original hardware, which that's up to you. So what I had to do was just buy 2-inch long studs, and that's pretty much it. So as you can see though, there is an interesting little thingy here inside the intake, which is what prompted me to even get a spacer. So I've never seen one of these before, and I do not think this is a factory option. I've kind of asked around on the forums a little bit, and nobody knows what this is. I'm assuming it's some kind of air diffuser to help atomize the fuel, maybe some kind of aftermarket thing. But anyway, it's a little bit smaller than the actual intake manifold inlet, and I upgraded my carburetor venturi size, so that means it's also got a bigger throttle blade on it, and I was unable to open the throttle blade with that thing in there. So I thought the issue was the manifold, so I ordered that spacer, and then once I actually dug into it, I saw this little goofy thing in here. So if I take this out, I'm sure I won't need to worry about a spacer, but spacers don't hurt, and I've already test fit the clearance, and 1/2 of an inch isn't going to be a big deal with the throttle linkage or any of the hard lines that go to it. So yeah, if you've ever seen one of these before, I would really love to know. So like I said, I don't know exactly what it is. I've tried Googling it. I've tried looking it up online as like a diffuser or an atomizer. I can't really find any information on it. It kind of reminds me of those gimmicky things that came out in the 90s, like a tornado insert for your intake manifold, and it's supposed to like spin the air. So, but yeah, I really don't know. I tried pulling on it, and I cannot easily remove it. So that's a little weird. It seems like these two side sections would impede the airflow to cylinders 1 and 6, right? Here on the very front and the very end. So I don't really know that that would be a good thing, but I would love some insight. If you guys have any clue what this thing is or what its actual purpose is. I don't think it's spot welded in there, but it has these little dimples. There are 3 on either side. So I may fiddle with it a little bit and see if I can get it out, because I don't think it's going to be beneficial. But here's the BBS carb that I just finished rebuilding. So just pretty much stepped up the venturi size, which is the main body up here, and then, you know, subsequently the throttle body size increased. But the top plate set up where the choke housing is, that's the same across all the BBS carbs as far as sizing.